Right now, your breath is telling the truth. Your face is trying to hide. Notice it. The shallow pull at the top of your chest, the held pause before you exhale, the quick little sips of air you take when you scroll past something that stings. That pattern isn't a side effect of how you feel. By the time you finish this, you'll understand that it's the lever and that you've been holding it the whole time. Most people believe emotion comes first and the body follows. You feel afraid, so your breath goes shallow. You feel calm, so it slows. That order seems obvious, but the traffic on that road runs both ways, and almost nobody uses the return lane. Think about the last time you were genuinely anxious. Your breathing climbed high into your chest, fast and thin, with the exhale cut short. Now think about a moment of deep peace, maybe lying in bed after a long day, fully safe. Your breath had dropped low into your belly, slow with a long, unhurried release. Each emotional state wears a specific breathing signature, as distinct as a fingerprint. The question almost no one asks, what happens when you put on the fingerprint first? That's where the whole thing turns. The state you call anxiety has a rhythm. So does courage. So does the unshakable certainty of someone who already has what they want. And a rhythm is something you can perform on purpose, with full attention, regardless of how you feel in the moment. Let me show you what your body already knows. The next time grief or panic rises, watch what you instinctively do. You take one long, slow breath. Nobody taught you that as a technique. It's older than technique. Your system reaches for the breathing pattern of calm because, on some level, the body understands that the pattern can summon the state. You've been reverse engineering emotion your entire life without naming it. So why does it feel like emotions just happen to you? Why do they arrive like weather, uninvited? Because the loop runs faster than your thinking. A feeling rises, your breath shifts to match it, and the altered breath feeds the feeling back, amplified. Fear shortens the breath, the short breath signals more danger, the danger sharpens the fear. Round and round, in a fraction of a second. You experience the result as a mood that descended on you from nowhere. The truth is, you were participating the whole time, breath by breath, casting the vote, and if you've been voting unconsciously, you can vote on purpose. This is the inner work the breath demands, and it's harder than it sounds. The mechanics are simple. A child can breathe slowly. It's hard because in the grip of a strong emotion, your breath wants to obey the emotion, and you have to override it with conscious will. You have to breathe like the calm person, while every signal in you screams to breathe like the frightened one. That override is the discipline. That's the entire practice, hiding inside something you do 20,000 times a day. Consider what actually changes when you slow and deepen the breath. The long exhale is the key that turns the lock. When your out-breath stretches longer than your in-breath, your body reads it as a signal of safety, because you only breathe that way when nothing is chasing you. You can't sprint from a predator while exhaling slowly for 8 counts. So the slow exhale becomes a message you send to yourself. We are safe, we can stand down. The emotion of calm arrives to match the message you sent. Now flip it. Want to feel alert, awake, ready to move? The breath of that state is different. Sharper inhales, more emphasis on drawing air in, a quicker pace with energy behind it. Athletes do this before they explode off the line. Performers do it in the wings before they walk on. They breathe themselves into readiness, manufacturing the state on demand while everyone else waits to feel it. Here's what stops most people from believing this works. They try it once, half-heartedly, take 3 slow breaths while still mentally rehearsing their problem, and conclude it did nothing. The breath isn't a magic switch you flip and abandon, it's a rhythm you sustain until the state catches up. The frustrating part is the gap. That stretch of seconds or minutes where you're breathing calm but still feeling the old emotion, and your mind insists this is pointless. Cross that gap. The state always lags the rhythm. And then it arrives. This is where the spiritual law underneath it all comes into focus. You are the one assuming the state, and the breath is the most direct doorway into assumption you possess. Every tradition that ever took the inner life seriously circled back to the breath. The yogis built an entire science around it and called it pranayama, the regulation of life force, through breath. They understood something the modern world forgot, that the one autonomic function you can also steer by hand is a bridge between the part of you that runs on its own and the part of you that chooses. Sit with that. Your heartbeat, your digestion, the dilation of your pupils, all of it runs without you. You can't decide to lower your heart rate by command. The breath is different. It breathes itself when you ignore it, and it obeys you when you take the reins. It's the one door left unlocked between the conscious you and the vast machinery beneath. And through that door, you reach the emotions that seem so far out of reach. There's a moment everyone recognizes. You're about to say something hard, maybe end a relationship or ask for the raise, and right before the words come out, you catch your breath at the top of your chest and hold it. That held breath is fear, frozen in the body. Release it slowly, on purpose, and the words come out steadier than you thought possible. Same situation, different breath, different person walking into it. So how do you actually use this? You start by learning the signatures. The breath of calm and self-possession is low and slow. Air sinks into the belly, the exhale runs long and soft, the pace unhurried, 4 or 5 breaths a minute instead of the usual 12 to 20. Stay in this rhythm for even 90 seconds, and you'll feel the floor of your mind go quiet. This is the breath of the person who can't be rushed, who walks into the room already certain. The breath of confidence and command has a fuller chest. The posture opens, the shoulders drop back, the inhale is deep and deliberate, claiming space. There's a steadiness to it, a refusal to hurry. Breathe this way and stand this way, and the feeling of capability rises to meet the form. Your body has built the costume, and the emotion steps into it. The breath of joy is loose and free, often punctuated by the deep involuntary sigh of relief, that long release we exhale when a weight finally lifts. You can borrow that sigh deliberately, a long, audible, complete exhale, repeated a few times, and something in your chest unclenches that words could never reach. Notice the through line. In nearly every state you'd actually want to live in, the exhale leads the release, the letting go, the surrender of the out-breath. The states most of us are starving for are all downstream of learning to let the air leave slowly. There's a reason this works on the body and not just the mind. The exhale is the only moment in the whole cycle where you genuinely let go of something. The inhale grasps, takes, holds. The exhale surrenders. And surrender is the texture of every emotion worth having. Peace is surrender. Trust is surrender. Even joy, when it overflows, leaves the body as a long breath out. So when you train the exhale, you're rehearsing the act of release itself over and over, until letting go becomes a thing your body knows how to do without being asked. The person who can exhale fully is practicing in miniature the deepest move the inner life ever requires. And the practice compounds in a way you can feel within days. Breathe the rhythm of calm enough times, deliberately, and your nervous system starts choosing it as the default. The new pattern stops being something you reach for in a crisis and becomes the water you swim in. You catch yourself in the middle of an ordinary afternoon, already breathing low and slow, already steady, and you realize the work has begun to do itself. But there's a deeper layer here, and it's the part that turns a breathing trick into a way of living. What you breathe repeatedly, you become. Not for 90 seconds, for good. If your default breath all day is the shallow, clipped, chest-high pattern of low-grade anxiety, then you are quietly voting for anxiety thousands of times before lunch. You're maintaining the state without knowing it, wondering why you feel perpetually on edge. Your breath set the thermostat, and you've been living in the temperature it chose. This is the mental diet of the breath. The same discipline the teachers describe for your thoughts applies to your breathing, and it's arguably more direct. You can't always catch a thought before it lands. You can almost always catch a breath. In any moment of stress, you have an opening. Notice the pattern you've fallen into, and consciously reshape it toward the state you'd rather inhabit. Drop the breath lower, stretch the exhale longer, slow the whole machine down. You'll do it imperfectly. You'll forget for hours and remember for minutes. The remembering is the practice, and every time you remember, you're rehearsing a truth most people never grasp, that you are the climate, not the weather. You set the conditions in which certain emotions can even form. There's a cost to this, and honesty demands I name it. Once you know the breath is a lever, you lose the comfortable excuse. You can no longer fully believe the story that your anxiety is just happening to you, that you're a passive recipient of a brain chemistry you didn't order. Some part of you will always know there was a slow exhale available, a lower breath you could have reached for, and you reached for the shallow one instead, that responsibility is heavy. Most people would rather stay victims than carry it. The ones who pick it up change their entire relationship to their own minds. Let me give you the practice in its simplest form, the one you can use the moment this ends. When an emotion you don't want grips you, drop underneath all of it to the breath. Ask one question: what is my breathing doing right now? You'll usually find it shallow, fast, held. Then, deliberately install the opposite. Lower the breath into the belly. Make the exhale longer than the inhale, slow and complete. Hold the new rhythm for 2 full minutes, through the discomfort, through the voice that says it's useless. Then watch what rises. You'll be withdrawing the fuel the old feeling runs on and feeding a different fire instead. The old emotion has nothing left to sustain it, and the new one has everything it needs to grow. This is why 2 people can face the identical situation and live in 2 different worlds. One breathes the storm and drowns in it. The other breathes the calm and walks through it untouched. The event was the same. The breath was the variable. And the breath was always a choice. Start tonight before sleep. Lie down and find the breath of complete safety, the low belly breath with the long surrendered exhale, and ride it into rest. Then in the morning, before your feet hit the floor, before the day hands you its first reason to tense up, take 60 seconds and breathe the person you intend to be. Steady, open, certain. Let your first emotional state of the day be one you authored. You came here looking for a way to change how you feel. It was moving in and out of you the whole time, free, automatic, waiting. The most powerful instrument you will ever play has been resting under your own ribs since the day you were born. Stop letting it play you. Pick it up and breathe the life you actually want into being, one deliberate breath at a time.